good afternoon if you're in the UK, or good morning, good evening, whatever time it is, if it's still Saturday. So my name is Artur Zielinski. I work for Hitachi Solutions in Europe. But the topic of today, as Mohammed just mentioned, is leveraging chatbots in talking with your CRM. So it's a debut. It's a debut. I don't know how do you pronounce it. For myself personally, and few of my other colleagues who have been working on this solution. And as I've mentioned a few times on Twitter and LinkedIn and other social media channels, it's not only a demonstration, but it's also a gift from us to you and to the community to hopefully raise some of your interest in this topic and get you thinking and get your creative juices going in terms of the cool stuff that you can do. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen, and what we'll do, I don't have a slide deck whatsoever. So what we will do is we will spend literally 5 minutes going through some of the history and how we got there and looking at some videos of some of my previous demonstrations of this technology. And then this will be followed by a hands-on demonstration of the product, as well as the last bit will be the installation and deployment process. And then we will have a hopefully very long Q&A session. I imagine there will be quite a few questions. So please let me know when you can see my screen. Is my screen now visible?
Yeah, we can see you.
Brilliant.
On the screen.
Okay, cool. So I'm not gonna, there is some soundtrack to these videos. I'm just gonna actually comment over them. And this is some of the history. So this, you see, this is a video from 2019 from November, and it's one of the first implementations of this. So this is a 1.5 minute demonstration of what can you do with Messenger and a couple of logic apps and your CDS. And this is a use case is a dental surgery where you can go and register as a new patient. So you can provide your name and email, as you can see here. This will generate a new contact in CDS or in CRM in real time. This will be, I'm going to pause here. This essentially stores your Messenger ID, which means that every time after that, if you talk on Messenger with this chatbot, we will know that this is you talking. You can provide your security code, and you're in as a patient. Sorry, I've got some cat intrusion. That's fine. So what you can do next is you can essentially book a service. So we've got a list of appointments in CRM that you can pick from. You can choose a specific time and day, and you'll see how in real time we are booking an open slot. You see that that slot has been scheduled for this patient. And then you can go ahead and cancel that slot, and it will actually free up time in CRM. So this is a really straightforward demonstration of booking process and registration through Messenger. This was one of the first use cases that we've looked at overall. I'm just going to move ahead and show you another demo. So this is the first demo. The second one is an image recognition. So given that this topic is AI, and we had a really cool session about custom vision and cognitive services, so I thought I'll show you what can you do when you actually implement this in a chatbot scenario. So here we've got a very simple, similar use case. This is a car park company, so parking. You provide your mobile number, you then get a code through Twilio. We're using Twilio to just receive a text message. So you get your code, you type that code in a chatbot. And then what you do is provide your vehicle registration number. So you send an image with your vehicle, and we use customer vision to actually analyze that image and extract your vehicle registration plate, go through a DVLA database and get the make and model of your car and store that info in CRM in real time. So you see here that the chatbot recognized the number plate, and then you just provide the location of your car park and book a time slot for a number of hours. And this was really to demonstrate how you can use custom vision and some of the other APIs in your chatbot to get some cool functionality. And I think the overall point I'm trying to make here is that these are very short journeys. You know, it takes 60 seconds for somebody to register themselves as a client, to provide the vehicle registration and to book the process. It's a much quicker process than if you were using some sort of custom application or a portal. And the last demo, which is a culmination of all those technologies, and this is the demo I've done in Florida for the user group event in Tampa. Oh, sorry, that's not the right one. This is the one. And it's funny because it's the most complicated scenario, but it's the quickest journey. So the whole customer journey from start to finish is 35 seconds. And this application allows you to, let's say you're a citizen, you're walking around your estate, and you spot that there is some graffiti or problems with bins or something. And it builds on what I was showing before with raising a case. And I thought this was quite interesting. So this is a different way you can raise a case. Imagine that you're walking around the estate and you want to raise that there is a problem. So look at that. This takes 34 seconds end to end. So in case you missed it, we basically have two elements to it. So first of all, we're asking you to send us a picture. You take a picture directly whilst you're there on the street. We pass that image, we analyze it, we get that there is a clearly problem with rubbish, right? So we've got a custom vision model that's trained to recognize stuff like graffiti, bins, etc. And the second part is because you're, again, on Messenger, Facebook allows you to pass location. So we're asking you, can you just send us your location? We reverse geocode it to get the address, and we store that info in CRM. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's the fastest way you can get your citizens to report issues regarding their estate or something like that. So it's could be of interest to anybody who is looking at public sector or housing associations or anything like that. So yeah, so these were the videos that I wanted to show you. I've got quite a few more videos and different demonstrations. If you want, you know, you can look at my Twitter profile or my LinkedIn profile. There are quite a few videos. We've got some examples of real-time translation, etc., etc. But I think it's 10 minutes past, so this is enough about history. Let's move on to the product. So as I've mentioned, this demonstration is about essentially a CRM bot or a D365 chatbot, or however you want to describe it. It's a virtual assistant that helps you as for internal users. It's essentially, I got inspired by looking at the out-of-the-box Dynamics 365 chatbot, which I'm not sure if you've used it, but you get this Dynamics 365 chatbot in Teams. And whilst it's okay, it doesn't really do much, in my personal opinion. You know, you can basically look at records, or you can change environments, and you can change applications, but that's pretty much it. And there is an extended version of it. If you pay for Sales Insights, you've got something called, I believe, I forgot what it's called, but I think it's Dynamics Insights or something like that. And that application is a lot cooler than this. but this out-of-the-box one or free one is quite limited. So what we took as an opportunity is to build something better. We've called it CRM bot. You can see that this is essentially what it's built to do is to streamline your day-to-day Dynamics operation. So imagine you're a salesperson. Every morning you get this sort of message. I spent some time coding that it actually recognizes what time it is, what day it is, and your name. You know, these small things really matter in terms of making your chatbot be user-friendly. And then it starts by telling you the activities that you've got due now. And this will work directly with your CRM. So if you click into the, let's say, an activity that you've got, I can prove to you that if I click into this record, this will take you directly into Dynamics 365. So you will see that record. I'm not faking anything here. This is exactly what this activity is. There is a task that's due on the 26th. Which I think we're now on the 27th. So this is why it's overdue now. So what we can do here is we can reschedule it. So we can change it to, let's say that it's not now due until Sunday. And you'll see that the name of the activity has changed to be 28. And in fact, if I refresh my CRM, you will see that the due date is now 28 as well. You can change it. So let's say that we actually, you know what, let's cancel it because, you know, that's another part of important, you know, you're looking at your tasks. Oh, I can't be doing this, or I don't want to be doing this anymore. So I want to cancel it. So this activity is again now canceled, which is fine. And in fact, if I go and type again, hi, to start the welcome screen again, you will see that, you know, there are no activities that I need to do now. So this is one of the applications. So you can basically use it to help yourself with which activities have got overdue. You can also click on My Day. This will now go through your Outlook and your calendar and actually look at appointments that you've got due today. And I've got 2 appointments. I've got an appointment at 3 o'clock to get to know each other with Alison. And I've got a coffee break in Central Park with Patrick, and I will create some more activities in a second, and I'll demonstrate how this works and how appointments are synchronized. But essentially, if I click on this and open my Outlook, you will see that, you know, these appointments are there. And again, you know, because it's in real time, you can cancel it or you can reschedule it. And I think it's quite useful to basically be able to see in the morning on your Teams what is your day. And then we've got Quick Guide, which is essentially a built-in help system that explains everything there is about this product. So you can, you know, if you ever forget what you're doing next, you can use that. We also have some built-in help here if you wonder what other commands you can use for this chatbot. But, you know, chatbots are conversational. So what we want to do is converse. So what can we do? We can do, for example, show my contacts. And again, name of the game is real time. So it now will go through the CDS environment and look at all contacts that are yours, and it will bring the results back. Now, there is a limitation with Teams and with these adaptive cards, as they're called. What you see here, this is called an adaptive card, which is a new technology that from Microsoft that I absolutely love. One problem with it is that you can only have 6 actions on a card, which is why we only bring you 6 results. So that's something to bear in mind, which is why we've built in also search functionality. So let's say that, you know, we've got obviously load more contacts than this. Let's say that we're looking for search contacts Bruno. So it will try to find all Brunos that we've got in a system. We have only one. So let's actually open Bruno. Okay, and Bruno is here. We don't have any activities with Bruno, and we don't have a telephone number for Bruno, but let's actually go into the CRM and add some details. So we're just gonna take this business phone number and stick it into the mobile field. And we're going to generate a new appointment to go and speak to Bruno. And let's say that this is in, and this appointment, let's say, is, I don't know, it's at 7 p.m., right? So this is now scheduled, and if you've used our appointments in CRM before, this will now basically send an invitation to Bruno Torres. Luckily, I'm using sample data. If this was real data, I would be in trouble. I've integrated I've enabled the synchronization with Exchange, although it does take a few minutes, so it's not as in real time as I would like it to be. So we may just come back to it at some point to see if we can see that in your day. It will take a few minutes, but if I actually open Bruno's record again, we should now see that he does in fact have a telephone number. Let's actually see if it works. Yes, it does. So you see that basically by adding details in CRM, we can update this. Let's actually add some tasks for Bruno. So let's say that, I don't know, what do we say? Find best time to arrange. And let's actually make this due in the past, just because I want to demonstrate that you can add new activities that actually, that are reactive or something that's supposed to be done in the past for us to see that these are overdue items. So you see now we've got basically two activities under Bruno. One is our task, which is highlighted with a lightning bolt, and one is a meeting that's now due at 7:30 p.m. And this one is due obviously in the past. So again, going back into our welcome screen, we will see that we've got now an overdue task. So again, the same, I don't want to repeat myself, so I'm not gonna demonstrate that you can in fact cancel it, reschedule it, all that stuff is still the case. One other thing that we've built in is an ability to show related stuff. So let's say we're talking about Bruno as a contact, but what we're really interested is the account that Bruno is under. So Lucerne Publishing is the name of the company. And in fact, yes, our chatbot has found that there is a company that Bruno is related to. Let's open this company. So this is an example of an adaptive card of a company. Everything you see here is directly created from CRM in real time. So it shows you that this was last modified today by myself. This is the name of the company. This is a description coming from Dynamics. This is a Bing map that when you click on it, it actually shows you the location of that address, including traffic. I'm not the biggest fan of Bing, but I think this interface is quite cool. I'm using, just so in case you're confused how we get to this, if you enable the geocoding in your Dynamics, you need to have a field service license. You get this geocode ability. You also do have to have a Bing map key. You are able to essentially geocode addresses. So you get the latitude and longitude. And this is how you can generate a map that looks like this as a card in your chatbot in real time. And then we've got some details about this company. So annual revenue state. From here, we can change states. I've already demonstrated how you can add notes and tasks. And again, if we had any activities, we would see them here. So what else can we do? So one other part of functionality that I quite think that would be quite useful is, let's imagine that we wanted to attach a document about Lucerne, right? So I can actually go here. I can pick a file. I don't know. Let me just find something here that's not so problematic. Let's just, I don't know, dual write preview. That will do. So I've already uploaded, that's fine. So I'm just gonna save that file. It takes a while to upload a file on Teams. So I'm sending a file, and because I'm in a context of this record, I basically use context to remember the history. So the chatbot knows that when you send a file, it's a file for this account because it's done directly underneath this account. You can now give it a name and add some description, and we can update that note. And if we go into this file in Dynamics, you will see that this is a note that is created note. It's regarding this account, and this is the file in question that, it's an actual file. So imagine in a use case of field service or cases or even salespeople going and meeting their customers and discussing, let's say, opportunities and wanting to be able to attach price list or attach, let's say, you take an image on your phone of, I don't know, a customer premises and you attach it. There is a lot of really cool use cases around this. One other thing that you can do with the files, if I actually go to the related nodes, is use the adaptive cards themselves to update details directly in Dynamics. So that's, you get this experience of essentially, we've got some couple of files against Lucerne, and you can go through them here and you can change the metadata around them. I thought about including this as a preview of the file directly in chat in Teams, but the problem around this is that it depends what sort of file that is. Because imagine that if you were attaching a video or a PDF or a JPEG, it's difficult to have a way to actually display everything. It's easy with images, but how do you do a preview of an audio file? It doesn't quite work as well. So yeah, so that's it. So let's actually look at some of the sales stuff. So let's imagine that you're a salesperson and you want to, show me my bids, show me my opportunities that we have. And we do have one opportunity, so we're just going to open that opportunity. We don't have any revenue or close date, but we've got some tasks around it. So let's now imagine that you're talking about this opportunity, and you can actually change state. So you can actually say, you know what, we're going to put this opportunity on hold. So the states that you see are dynamically generated from your CRM state. So you will see different state for a contact and different status options for opportunities. Oh, and there seems to be some sort of delay. That does happen occasionally, that you get this message. Microsoft has this issue logged, and it will be resolved at some point, but it sometimes does happen. That you get this unable to reach app, but it's fine. There seems to be a problem. I think it could be because I don't actually have access to this record because it's not owned by myself. Let me just actually check. Oh no, actually it did do it, but it just had a problem with displaying it. So you can see that the opportunity is now here is on the hold. So one other thing that this could be quite useful is, imagine if you have a lot of products in your Dynamics and you're just talking to a customer and you want to quickly find out the price of a product. So you can basically, using the search functionality, you can, let's say, search for any product that has 300 in its name. And this will bring some results in a second. So we've got one product that's got 300. And again, you can open that record. And you see here, we can see a list price as well as the current cost of the item. And again, these are real items coming from Dynamics. So one last thing that a couple of things, I suppose, but so let's actually go back to this account. I think there was another one, something with wineries. So I'm just going to search for any wineries that we've got on the system. I think there is 2. Yeah, so Coho Winery. I'm sure most of you will recognize those names: Coho, Fabricam, Robotics. It's all part of the sample data that Microsoft gives you when you install your CRM. So one last thing we can do is we can actually add new activities by just typing. So let's imagine that you can do, I don't know, call him tomorrow at noon to find out more. Yes, Samit, that's a very good summary. It's it seems weird, but I think that this will be quite useful for a lot of organizations that do not have a heavy use of Dynamics and they want to just roll it out to different people. You know, imagine that you do not require any training to use this. Imagine trying to teach people advanced find and fetches in Dynamics. A lot of people will find that confusing. Well, this is a lot simpler. So going back to this, we just created a new phone call, which is due tomorrow, and we've got the name of the activity like this. And obviously, as with what I've shown you before, we can open that record and we can, you know, let's say complete it or cancel it, etc. And there is a variety of other commands that you can use here. So it doesn't need to be future activities. It could be that they've called you before and you can just, you know, say, I don't know, schedule a meeting, or you get the gist, you know. So you can either schedule meetings or have phone calls or create tasks this way. And basically it's used to interrogate the records in real time. So we've spent almost half an hour doing this. So one last thing I'll show you, and this is something that is not very useful, but I think it's something that you have to remember when you build chatbots. People are inquisitive in nature. So first thing I do with anybody's product, if I go and explore and look at chatbots, is I try to break them. So what happens when you actually, let's say I'm going to send you a GIF. You have to cater for those scenarios. So we're actually catering for GIFs. So teams cannot send GIFs back. My original idea was that I actually respond with a random GIF of my own. But unfortunately, teams cannot do it yet. But we can send you this message. We can also actually deal with people reacting to your stuff. So I built for every different type of reaction that you have, we've built a different command. And you may think this is stupid, but I guarantee you that this will, people will, if they react to something, and you know, it's touches on what Lisa was showing this morning. You know, imagine that somebody has an angry reaction. You could pass it through the sentiment analysis, and you can definitely, you know, maybe send him as a handover to a human agent. And lastly, we obviously need to deal with emojis, right? Like, I mean, you know, imagine a chatbot that doesn't react to emojis. You know, that's incomprehensible. So, right, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not the most complex solution in the world, but you know, we spent, I would say, probably about a month and a half of building this and testing this and getting this to a state where I'm not ashamed to demonstrate it to other people. But as I've mentioned before, it's not just about demonstrating. My aim was to actually get you guys, give you something back, right, for your time on Saturday. So I'm going to send you a link to this page now in the chat window. But this is a page which basically explains everything I've just shown you in terms of the types of activities, types of entities we work with, takes you through the entire use cases and explains basically, I could just show you this page and shut up for half an hour and it will save everybody time. But on a second part of this is the installation process. So this is built in, pre-built for you to download and use essentially for yourself. All you need to do is download the Teams application and you see an animated GIF of what this looks like. You basically click this button, download the Teams. You have to unpack it and put it against your Teams organization. So you have to essentially go into Teams, click on apps. I can actually show you what this looks like. If you can see my my window now, you go here and you click on more apps and you should have an option of uploading a custom app. If you don't see this, that means you don't have permissions to do it and you shouldn't actually try to do it. So I don't expect you to do it on your live organization. You should do it on some sort of trial first or in a tenant that you actually have access to. So you can upload it here, add it, go through a very quick questionnaire. You have to provide your name, company website, email, and phone number. And please don't try to provide dummy data, because the email that you provide here you will get your secret key there. So you cannot, if you put dummy data here, you will essentially have to go through the process again. And this will, when you do it for the first time, it will sync against the tenant ID of your team. So you only have one opportunity to install it against that team's tenant. If you provide wrong data here, if you don't provide your real email, you will have to contact us and we will have to reset the process for you. So please do it properly first time. You can then get a solution, which again is on our GitHub. So there is actually, let me just send you also a link here to this GitHub page. So where are we? We're here, just a sec. So this is where you can download the crmbot.zip is the Teams application, and the managed solution is the solution that contains all the flows. So this is something I've not explained before. So the entire chatbot that you've seen runs on Power Automate with the use of custom connectors that we've built in. We've been building this for a while now, for just, I think, under 2 years now, in terms of essentially giving you, as a functional consultant without any coding ability, a functionality that enables you to build this stuff. So let's just go through a simple ones just for you to get an understanding. So you remember in this chatbot, if you type help, it will show you this page, right? Or this response. So if we actually go and look at our flow, which is here, you will see that there is a trigger that ran 11 seconds ago. So you can use this to debug your chatbots. And if you look at the flow, you will see that it contains 3 actions. They're all part of the custom connector. You authenticate against this custom connector by putting the secret key that you get from an email. So this will work just for you. And this is an important point. This entire approach means that we do not have access to your CDS, and you do not, all you're really doing is using the chatbot functionality to detect that somebody talked to you, build some sort of response and respond. But what happens in between those steps is up to you, and it's totally within your control. You do not have any reason to do sign-on or authentication with external, scary external APIs or anything like that. So you basically have 3 actions. If somebody types help or asks for help on any platform, we built this sort of response. And for those of you who are technical, you will love this, because this is an adaptive card. For those of you who do not know what adaptive cards do and how they work, there is a fantastic designer tool that allows you to build your own adaptive cards. And you'll recognize that some of those examples is what I've been using in my demo. But you see here that we basically have, welcome to, with some sort of link. And you can see that if I welcome to our amazing, lovely, and if I save this, and this is what you can do yourself. When you download the solution, it's entirely yours. So now if I type in help, you will see that this now says, welcome to our amazing, lovely CRM bot community edition. And to reiterate, this is just your change. This doesn't affect, if this is downloaded 100 times across the world, only you are changing fulfillment for yourself. It doesn't affect anybody else. So that's something that you don't feel afraid of experimenting. All you're really doing is playing with your own version of this product. So I'm just going to delete that and keep it back. I realize that for a lot of you, this may be just very weird and confusing and very new, which is why on the docs.crmbot.ai page, you have a lot more information and context around how to actually build your own flows and what can you do with those. But let me just briefly show you a more complicated flow, just to give you an understanding of how complicated can these things get, and what do you need to really do in order, what can you do with this? So let's say that we've actually want to look at a flow that is responsible for showing an entity. So you remember when I was doing stuff like show my accounts. And this is this flow. Sorry, I'm just too many windows. So this is this flow, and you'll see that it's executed 6 seconds ago. So if I actually open this flow, so this doesn't look too bad. Unfortunately, this is because we've got some scope. So first thing it does, there is a trigger. We then start some variables. We are finding all users, and because in our payload in Teams we get the Azure, we get the Azure Active Directory, which we store under a parameter called user ID. This is your Azure Active Directory ID. It's a unique identifier saying that this is Artur Zielinski in this Teams tenant. So you can use it in your fetch to find the right user in CRM. And we need to store this user because we're going to need that GUID in a second to show your data. We then have a scope of basically the types of things that you can show. So accounts, contacts, opportunities, leads, etc. If we go to accounts, you will see that we have another action of list records. And you see here in the fetch, I'm passing the owner GUID that's taken from this step. So this is how you can amend this. Let's imagine that in your organization, you do not want to show only your accounts. You want to show accounts of a certain type or accounts with a certain size. You can customize it yourself, and you can do whatever you really want with it, as long as it is accounts that you're showing. And then you've got the entire process of building an adaptive card, and this gets really complicated. So for each result, we're basically building this sort of JSON object. We then have to actually delete the last comma because of, well, it's a long story, but this is because we're using something called string array, and we have to cater for the situation. If there aren't any accounts that you can find, you have to delete the last comma because otherwise the string will break. We're then setting basically this as a variable, and we're appending this to if there weren't any results, we're appending a new one that says no records found, but this is only when the configure run after is false. And then we're building our adaptive card. And you see the adaptive card is quite straightforward because you've done all the complex stuff before. And then we're sending that response. So this is pretty much it for show an entity. And this, as I said, this can get a lot more complicated. Another part of the functionality that I've not explained is that you do not have to use always triggers. Oh, actually, hang on, there is a question from Abdul. Is the question that the user has asked, how easy is trained about to respond? So, Abdul, just to be very clear, this product is built with a view of you utilizing the intents that have been already created. You do not have your own version of this product in order to add more intents and entities. If you're interested in building your own chatbot, you can always get in touch. There is information on that page. You can get in touch, and I'm sure there are some developers that can help you with that. But in this particular example, you have to use the intents that are already there. But to answer your question, intent is exactly that. Intent is, and that's why we've built them very generically. So you see, intent is somebody adding an activity, adding a node, searching for an entity, showing an entity, and these are generic for a reason, to cater for as many scenarios as possible. But you cannot add new intents in this version of this product, right? Okay, hope that helped. So where was I? Proactive messages. So you do not have to use this always reactively. You can use any trigger you want to actually send a message to a user through a chatbot. So let's imagine that there is so this is an example which I cannot demonstrate because I'm myself. Actually, I can. I will demonstrate it to you in a second. But basically this is when somebody assigns an account to you, and I'm saying somebody because I'm checking here that the modified by doesn't equal yourself, because I imagine there is nothing more annoying than imagine a chatbot that tells you every time you're doing something yourself on CRM. That would be really annoying. So that's why I've built this filter expression to essentially, this only works when somebody else does it. We're then doing all those things that I don't want to go into details, and then we're basically sending a proactive message. And you see here, we're using the user ID of the owner, the Azure Active Object Directory of the owner, and we're sending him that message. So if I just for a second take away this filter and save, okay, that's now saved. And if we go into, let's actually open Bruno and go to the Lucerne publishing. And let's assign it to somebody else. Okay, so let's assign it to, who can I assign it to? I don't think I've got that many agents here. Let's assign it to the test agent. Oh, gosh. I can't do it because I think I'm just by myself here. Maybe you can assign it to a team. Let's see if that works. That's what happens when you don't have too many users in your tenant. But let's actually see if I can find a team. Oh, gosh, no. Right, okay, well, I won't be able to demonstrate, but you are able to demonstrate it for yourself when you just, when you actually get it installed. You just, all you have to do is just make sure that somebody else does it for you. I just do not have more than one user in this environment, so that doesn't work. But you could actually build different applications from the proactive one. Let's say that you wanted to send yourself a message on a daily basis, or send yourself a message when something happens in CRM. As long as you use a different trigger, you can use this send proactive message to send a message to the user in Dynamics. Right, so we've got only 18 minutes left. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pause this now. I'm going to go back to the installation here and stop sharing my screen. And I hope there are some questions, and I hope some of you will want to just give it a go and test drive this yourself. And I'm really, really hopeful that you will have some feedback for us, whether it's positive or negative. So these adaptive card technology could be used with other chat agents. No. So Sumit, yes, well, adaptive cards work in 3 scenarios: in Teams, in Bot Framework, Web Chat, in Cortana, and in Windows Timelines, and in Outlook. So this is Microsoft technology. Adaptive cards are used predominantly in Teams and Web Chats. But for WhatsApp, unfortunately, you cannot do anything. WhatsApp is purely text messenger, which is why I'm not very keen on WhatsApp chatbots. A Messenger is a different story. On Messenger, as you've seen in my videos from 40 minutes ago, you can do a lot cool stuff in terms of cards and displays using Facebook APIs. Any other questions? No worries. Great question. We using, well, the text recognition and in the intent detection and the sentiment analysis around this is all coming from Dialogflow. I could build this using Lewis as well, but we've chosen for our custom connectors to use Google Dialogflow simply because it's in our opinion more powerful and more adaptable. And as opposed to Lewis, it's got few more connectors and few more channels available. But as I say, the whole approach behind building a custom connector is to free you guys from worrying about intent detection or building your intents. You can just use Flow to essentially build whatever you want. and don't need to worry about that. Could you please tell us what exactly use of this D365 business solution or internal CRE solution? So in terms of what you could do with this from a business perspective, as I said, as I've mentioned, commented on a few other sessions, I'm very interested in chatbots that do things. So for example, you can use adaptive cards. If I actually share your screen and share my screen again and show you what sort of cards can you actually get out of the box. So let's say you've got here a flight itinerary as an example. You've got some sort of, menu choices for your restaurant, flight for whatever reason, Microsoft is obsessed with flying. You've got scores for your team, reviews and restaurant reviews. You've got weather, you've got video, you've got this calendar, agenda. So, imagine that you've got a chatbot, like you can extend the My Diary to build something that looks like this, relatively straightforward. Another one is expenses. So this is for internal use case. So imagine that you can do the entire expense management. If you don't want to pay for finance and operations license, you can build your own if you're that way inclined. But the possibilities are endless. But adaptive cards are just a way to display the information back. As I said, if you are using Messenger, or if this was a B2C public-facing chatbot, you would use Messenger or you would use Web Channel, and you've got even more options. And this is really why it's important to reiterate that the options that you get with custom connectors here, you've got an ability to build adaptive cards, build media responses, quick replies, proactive messages. You can just use the connector to actually build whatever you need and surface it on a channel of your choice by using the platform here. But as I said, this free product is limited to those intents that you've seen and to Teams as the platform. If you want to go above and beyond, just please get in touch. Can we surface this in Dynamics portals? Absolutely, yes. You can surface this on any website as long as the platform that you're using is not Teams. So this is done. This set of flows has been built for Teams. If you want to go above and beyond Teams, then again you just need to get in touch. But I'm hoping that you can use this to essentially basically apply it in your organizations, have fun with it, and learn a lot about how to build some cool applications. And then, maybe that will get your ideas going in terms of what else you can do with it. Thank you very much for the kind comments. I'm more than welcome to answer any other questions you might have. We still got 12 minutes. Oh, and thank you, Michał. We've got Michał and Patrick and a few other guys who've been instrumental in building the custom connectors. So thank you, Michał, for all your hard work.
Fantastic. Any more questions for Artur? Thanks very much, Artur. That's really interesting, very interesting, I have to say. So as always.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. And as I say, I will be distributing the links to the solution and the landing page on social media as well. So don't, I'm actually just gonna paste it again here just in case you've missed this. So I'm just gonna paste it again here, and I'm hoping that there will be some volunteers for actually testing this out, and we'll hopefully, as I say, the aim here is to get people creative ideas going. So you've got a link to the landing page as well as a link to the GitHub. If you have any issues or problems, you can either contact, there is an email address in the landing page. It's community@crmbot.ai. Or you can just raise issues directly on GitHub and they will be looked at straight away or as soon as possible.
Fantastic. Yeah, and all the details are in the chat. So thanks very much, Artur. Thanks everyone for attending. We have 10 minutes for before our next session, which is the one and only Diane Taylor. She's going to take us through a whole introduction of Power Virtual Agents. So if you're not familiar with Power Virtual Agents, this is a very important session. If you are, I think it's also a very important session because it will take you through a lot of the nitty-gritty details of Power Virtual Agents, but still at a kind of an introductory level for those who haven't done a lot on Power Virtual Agents. So please take the next 10 minutes break. If you have any questions for Artur, Artur's still here. If you don't mind, Artur staying next to the chat for a few minutes.
I'm staying definitely. And if you are familiar with virtual agents and you know the nitty-gritty, still stay, because if you've not seen Diane present before, you have to witness it for yourself. So Diane, I'm very much looking forward to seeing you present, and I'm definitely sticking around until the end of the day today. So yeah, speak to you later, guys. Thanks a lot once again.